All right, thank you very much. The next thing we want to talk about in this arithmetic to algebra series is how to translate verbal statement into algebraic statements. Okay, in your arithmetic class, you usually deal with numbers. Even your most complex problem is still in numbers. So if you have something like 2, 3, 1 plus 5 minus 1 plus 8 minus 2, so you have problems like this, you get it, then you would evaluate. In algebra, as I mentioned earlier, most of your numbers are also going to be represented as literals or alphabets. In your attempt to translate verbal statement into algebraic statement, what do you need to take note of? The first thing is that you need to take note of the wordings, right? And then also connect part of the problem, okay? Part of the statement. Look at this, for instance. 8 times a number reduced by the same number equals 6 times a number. You get that? So you need to connect that. But let's look at some of the vocabularies, okay? Verbal vocabularies and how they actually translate into algebraic statements. So let's look at it. I already did a video on recognizing quantities and drawing relationship between them. Yes, I would link that in the description below. But what I want to achieve is that you, as much as possible, be able to translate verbal statement into algebraic statements, which are very important, something that most students do have troubles with. So let's look at some of the vocabularies that you need to take note of. Okay, let's assume that you have been given a word problem, and in the word problem you have statements like plus. Plus is plus, addition. Things like sum, gain, increase, rise, expand, more than. So let's say a number is 3 more than a number. It means that if the number is s, it is actually 3 plus 3 more than a particular number, which is n. We don't know about that, okay? So it's talking about 2 numbers here, but one of them is 3 more than the other number. I hope that makes a lot of sense. So kindly take a minute to look at these vocabularies. Kindly take a minute to look at these vocabularies and how they translate. So if you meet any of these, but I want to say that the ones that you meet quite often is plus, sum, gain, increase, rise, more than, yes, hopefully, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. Now let's look at which ones actually denote subtraction. So if it is not a plus, if plus denote addition, then a minus would denote subtraction. Anytime you are learning, you try as much as possible to draw relations so that you can easily understand the concept. If a sum is addition, then obviously the difference is going to be subtraction. If gain is addition, lose is going to be, if increase is addition, decrease is, if you are not rising, then you are dropping. If you are not expanding, then you are lowering. Okay, less than. Okay, so let's look at multiplication. What are some of the words that usually denote multiplication? Okay, so we can talk of multiplied by. You always see something like multiplied by 2. A number is multiplied by 3. It means that if the number is x, we are actually multiplying by 3. That is 3n. A number is multiplied by 3. You see, times. This is very frequent. So you see 8 times x. That is means 8x. You understand? So products, very popular here. Let's say the product of 8 and a number. Let's say the number is n. The product of 8 and a number, that is 8n. You understand? Twice. Now let's see. Twice. If let's say a number is twice, so the size of another number. So it means if this number is x, it's actually equal to 2 times the another number. You get what I'm trying to say? And so cool. The next thing that this is also very frequent. Let's look at something like double. Yes. So let's look at division. You have divided by, like we have multiplied by, you have quotient. And here I want you to critically take note of ratio. Ratio denotes division. So for instance, 2:3 is the same as 2/3. That's what we mean, right? Half is always half. So let's go to the problems I showed you earlier, and then per the knowledge you have gathered, try to rewrite our verbal statement into algebraic expressions. Okay, so we are going to take note of some of the terms that we saw in our previous, like in this video. So the first one says 8 times a number. So 8 times, we said times means multiplication, times a number. Okay, so let's call it n. Reduce by, reduce is synonymous to decrease by. Okay, so that would be subtraction by the same number. What is the number? N, right? We represented that by n. Equals 6 times 6, times a number. Okay, this is a number. We didn't know the number. Is reduced by the same number, which is representing the same n here, but by a number. We don't know that, so let's call it, let's say, x. So now this is going to wind up as 8 times n, which will be 8n, minus the same number n is equal to 6 times a number x. Okay, great. Alright, so the next one says that the sum, we know sum is the same as plus. The sum of twice a number, so twice means 2 times a number n, and 3 times the same number, let's go n, equals 5 times that number, is equal to 5 times that number n. So that will mean that the sum of, so the sum of 2n, sum of plus 3n is equal to 5n. You got it? So the perimeter of a square, one property about square is that all sides are the same. Yeah, so the distance around the square, so we say that s plus s plus s plus s, so that is the perimeter is 4x, right? So now it says that the perimeter of a square equals, let's call perimeter p of a square equals 4 times the side, let's call the side s, right? S, 4 times the length of one of the sides. So that means that the perimeter p is equal to 4 times the side x. Now it says that a is increased by, a is a literal here, is increased. We said increase means plus by twice of b, 2b. So it means that this is a, it has been increased by 2 times of b, so a plus 2b. That's good. 30 is decreased by, so 30 here, decrease means minus, right? Minus 3 times c, 3c. You got it. Half the sum of m and twice of n. So what is the sum of m and n? So m plus twice of n. Get it? So this is the sum, and half of that means that we multiply by 2, half. So that would wind up as m plus 2n all over 2. Let's do the last one. Alright, so there is a speed in feet, right? We don't know that. Okay, there is a speed in feet. We don't know that. We don't know that speed, so let's call it, let's say s, right? In feet is 30 feet per second faster than twice another, which is, so there is a speed that is r, and then there is a speed which you don't know, that is, let's call it s. That speed is 30 feet per second faster than twice that of r. So this is 12 of r plus 30 feet. So yes, that is it. So this is 2r plus 30 feet. Alright, so this brings us to the end of this session. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you.